What did you make of the possibility of bubbleizing March Madness in Indianapolis?
Smart move. I think it's the only way in the current climate that we're facing that we're going to get an NCAA tournament in. You have, if you're going to try to get a tournament in 13 different venues, from the first four to the first round to the Elite Eight to the Final Four in Indianapolis, it's not going to work. And I think Danny Gavitt and the tournament committee realized that, and they decided to make the adjustment now so they didn't have to make it later. And it's a smart move. And look, I think a lot of people might feel like I would jump all over this and say, see, they're pros. This is not the time for that. They're pros anyway. So it doesn't matter whether they play in bubbles or not. But you'll remember at the beginning of the pandemic, when we were talking about all this stuff, that you had a lot of administrators saying, hey, no students on campus, no college sports. Well, they backed off that in a hurry. Yeah. And then they were saying, well, we can't have bubbles. These are amateurs. They backed off that in a hurry. We're going to start the season in a bubble at the Mohegan Sun. We're going to end it in as close to a bubble as you can get in Indianapolis at least I think it'll be in Indianapolis. That's the initial indication for the NCAA tournament. It's just smart business. Like, basketball needs to have a season this year. It's really kind of an existential issue for the NCAA. That's the only revenue they have, is the NCAA tournament. If there's not a tournament, the NCAA is in trouble after this season. If we have a tournament, I think we get through this and everything's fine. If we don't, 2 years of no revenue, and there's a real existential problem. So I'm glad they're doing it this way, and I'm glad we're moving toward it. And oddly enough, Dan, right now, the students going home on almost every campus across the country, going home like this week, next week, whatever it is, for Thanksgiving, and they're not coming back. That's the best chance we have to get a basketball season in, because the teams are going to be essentially isolated and quarantined on their own campus with no other students. And that's the best chance we have.
Yeah, I wondered if the Pac-12 would have waited till Thanksgiving to start their football season, with everybody gone, and then you try to do it like that. Or the Big Ten. You want to be in the Final Four, you want to go to a bowl game, but you do want to get the season in. Pac-12 probably not going to get their season in. The Big Ten stumbled a little bit here, but I do agree with you. Once the students go home, you're basically bubbleizing your basketball team as well. Let me go back to what you said about the NCAA. If they don't have March Madness over a 2-year period, what do you think happens to the NCAA?
Well, I think there will be a lot of change. I mean, you don't have money. It's going to be hard to operate on the same level, and hard to keep employees and all that other stuff. And I think they just lose their grip. And college basketball gets diminished. I don't think there's any question about that. Now, is it going to go? It's not going to go away. But without the revenue, I mean, there are going to be so many things, so many dominoes that fall in a negative direction. I think it gets diminished. And look, I think it's going to be diminished going forward a little bit anyway. But I think there's going to be a loosening of the grip on college sports, and the conferences start taking over, and we see some changes that we wouldn't have anticipated otherwise.